Aloha, this is your mean squirrel, here with a quick disclaimer. This podcast contains explicit content and parental discretion is advised. So no bitching if you fucking get offended by anything. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I will never get that. Will never get old whatsoever.
And now I want to know how that turtle would dance to that track. Completely useless questions 101. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Squirrel Tangent. We brought back the Suave Squirrel. Say hi.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Hola.
Hola, bien, ¿y tú? Unfortunately, the Bratty Squirrel cannot be with us this evening, and she's just not feeling that hot. So it's just going to be us dudes here. So unfortunately, the cockfight is what you get. That's just horrible. And you know,
bus drivers at that.
And bus drivers, both of us bus drivers. Oh, well, at least that provides for good storytelling, because I'll tell you guys, anytime that you ever want to hear a good story, everybody's got some kind of work related story. Everybody, it doesn't matter the career. If you want the really good stories, talk to somebody that works in transportation. Bus drivers, taxi drivers, shuttle drivers. They've seen it all.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
most definitely.
And there's no limit. Like, I look over to the side and I'm seeing somebody getting a blowjob in their car. I look up in my mirrors and I'm looking up in my cameras, looking at the top floor of my bus, and there's somebody else getting a blowjob in my bus. And that's just, you know, the tip of the iceberg, or just the tip.
Yeah. When I used to, yeah, just the tip. Yeah, right. When I used to do Uber, I did my first time taking anyone to EDC, and at the time I had a Chevy Trailblazer, and I picked up two guys and a girl. Of course, the guy and girl were a couple, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I see them jump to the back, to the trunk area. And I knew exactly what they were gonna do, because we got caught in traffic. And I go, you know what? If you're gonna do something back there, lay out the blanket that I have out there.
Yeah, at least protect the surface here. I don't need to be scrubbing it up. I can throw a blanket into a washer. I do not need to be trying to scrub it out of the upholstery in my car.
Exactly. 2 minutes later, I just hear her start moaning, and it's like, okay, let me roll the windows down. I don't want the funky smell in here.
Right. And then, of course, you have to sanitize the back, and you're like, okay, I'm going to clock off here, go home, clean up my bus, or clean up my car a little bit. But, and that's, like I said, it's just transportation in general, because when people are in somebody else's car or somebody else's vehicle, it seems like they just like, what am I worried about? What?
Yeah.
I'll do whatever I want. Of course, you'd never do it at home, but yeah.
Hey, it was a good payday. You know, that one trip got me $60.
Dude. Damn.
Yeah. But see, that was during the time when you had surges and, you know, with everything going on, the company would only take about 25% of the profits. So, and I profited on $60. Well, my car broke down and I had to use Uber for the first time from the job all the way home. and it's only a 12-minute ride.
Mm-hmm.
But I was talking to the driver, and he's telling me that the company now takes 52% of their which is kind of sad. And I hate to say this, but I blame it on California, because in California, the drivers are no longer contracted drivers. They are now employees of Uber, and they have to be given the health benefits, dental, vision, the whole nine. So now the company takes more because of that. But these drivers are having to work 12 to 16 hours just to get a decent wage for the day.
And see, now the thing is that where I agree that Uber drivers, they work their ass off. They should have benefits.
Oh, most definitely.
They should have benefits. But benefits should not mean you don't make a living wage.
Yeah.
And that's it's not an if this then that, it's a they need both. It's not an option like that. But oh well. What are you going to do at this point?
Yeah. And now there's no more surges for the Uber and Lyft drivers. It's just straight, however long the trip is, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah. And like coming from our work to
bless you.
Thank you. But coming from our work to my house is like $9.10 or something like that for me. And the driver for the Uber only gets like $4.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's kind of annoying. But did I just get a notification? No. No, not you. And okay, because I'm just a horrible person and paying attention to everything else at the same time as I am, this conversation. But so I was recently listening to another podcast, and they posted it because unfortunately Brandy's getting me into this true crime stuff.
Yeah.
And they got onto the discussion of what of somebody that was on death row had as their last meal.
I've seen those type. Some of them are very, very elegant. Others are like not really much.
Like the most random shit. Like one of them had like a KFC chicken and some ice cream or something. It was like,
yeah,
huh? So what would be yours though? You're on death row. You're about ready to be toasted in a chair, and they tell you can have anything you want to eat for your last meal. What's yours?
Something that is illegal to eat. That you can't kill this animal, because it's endangered. But hey, it's your last request. Why not?
Right, but see now that becomes an issue, because then they would have to actually break the law in order to give you what you wanted.
What if you wanted spotted owl? Or what about
so cute.
a nice deep fried bald eagle?
Wow. Wow. You're on your way out the door. It's like, you know what? Fuck you.
You did not specify it can't be illegal. All they're asking you is, what do you want for your last meal?
Right. Right. This is true. This is true.
So what are they going to do?
Well,
and you got to consider
worst case
a
scenario.
bald eagle.
Worst case scenario, they're just going to tell you no. Sorry, can't help.
I mean, a bald eagle. Have you heard what the size of a nest of a bald eagle is?
Oh yeah, they can be
It's
5-6 feet across.
No, it's 600 square feet.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, that's half the size of my apartment.
Right.
For a female bald eagle to lay her 1 or 2 eggs or however many eggs she's going to have.
Damn.
So let's see what else.
Me, I'd have to say, you know what though? I enjoy the elegant things in life. I would do something like completely out there, ridiculous, expensive. Like I would want a perfectly done, almost blue Wagyu beef steak meal with some kind of rare fucking vegetable and fresh churned vanilla ice cream with Swiss chocolate. I would be like the most bougie last meal ever. I would just go all out.
And I'd have I'd probably have Gordon Ramsay cook my meal, and then a pastry chef to do my dessert or whatnot. Just a little thought here and there. Do you know of anyone who is obsessed with like certain serial killers or a murderer?
Not a particular one, but Brandy is kind of obsessed with serial killers and it's more the psychology of it. Like, how does somebody get from normal to their brain snaps and they get to a point where they can think of some brutal, evil way to kill somebody?
Well, I just had my quote unquote niece who it was my cousin's daughter,
Mm-hmm.
because she was abused by her boyfriend and whatnot, and found out what was happening, and she was scared. So I invited her over, to stay with me for a little while so she could relax and whatnot. And she was all into Jodi Arias, if you remember that story.
And
she was a girl from California who fell in love with a guy from Utah, and he was saving himself for marriage, and somehow they got all heated, and he broke his promise to wait for marriage, and in the end she sliced him. Supposedly about 29 stabbings, and she literally cut his neck. I mean, deep to where she could have beheaded him, and shot him right in the eye. Yeah, and the bullet stayed right in the socket of his eye.
Ooh. Ow.
Almost 3 times a week, my niece, when I would come home from work, she was watching this girl.
Jesus. Well, see, now, there was one that I took a particular interest in because it happened in a town that I actually spent a number of years. I lived in Sacramento for a while, and they had the Night Stalker.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And the way the Night Stalker worked was he would actually stalk out the place the night before, and he would prep it. He would prep it. Like, he'd break in there, and he would leave ropes underneath their couch and shit the whole day of. Like, he would be prepared. He knew who he was going to hit, and it was always couples. And it started off that he was just a rapist. That's how it started. And he would break into their house, wake them up with a gun and a flashlight pointed at them, direct the wife to tie up the husband, go into the kitchen and grab dishes from their cabinet that he already knew where they were. Like, this is how prepped he was. He would go into the kitchen, grab dishes from their cabinet, and put it on his back and say, if I hear these fall, I'll kill you both.
Oh, damn.
And then he would either take her into the other room or he would do it right there in front of him and rape her.
Damn.
With him there so he could hear it. How... And then at some point, he actually transitioned to the point where he was just killing him.
Yeah.
And
then that's what, but by that time, he had already moved to LA.
Right.
And then he got caught by the neighborhood because they saw, they had already put out a drawing of him. And he was walking in the street and the people saw him and wasn't it that they beat the crap out of him? And
no, that was another one. There was another one that went to LA, but there was this one. He did go down to the Bay Area. And,
okay.
And he did a bunch there, and they never caught him until just this last couple years, because his cases actually led to California having a database of a genetic database of
oh wow
of human genes that they acquired from criminal investigations and stuff. And this dumbass put into the like the 23andMe the family genealogy thing.
Yeah.
He gave a genetic sample to that, and 23andMe it popped a red flag for them.
Oh, cool.
And he got busted. And this only happened just a couple of years ago. And he did all of these things back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, damn. How stupid are you going to be, though, if you've got that much genetic material?
Well, it's almost like the BTK killer.
Mm-hmm.
He had been doing it for so long, and how did he mess up? He used the public library or something like that, where he sent a fax or whatnot, and from he does a timestamp and where it's being sent from.
Mm-hmm.
They found out who it was and what time he had used the computer, and after like 20 years of being on the run, he had been a super popular person in the community.
Right.
Was in the church and helped out so much, and all these people were so shocked to find out that he was the BTK killer.
Dude, and I find that all the time is every time you hear about these killers or whatever, they're like, oh, I never would have suspected. He just seemed like such a normal, down to earth guy. It's like,
yep.
He was active in the church. It's like, dude, church don't mean diddly.
Nah.
Church don't mean diddly. It's you don't know. You have to pay attention to what that person really is.
Yeah, that you don't know what their background was like before you ever met them, or they went, and lived in your community.
Yeah.
And
it's the true crime things. In fact, I'll give a shout out to them. They don't know me for nothing, but the true crime one that I was listening to is And That's Why We Drink. And
okay.
And it's really weird because the way they got it set up is they'll start off the podcast and they'll be having a conversation like you and I. And that'll actually eventually lead to that's why they drink, because, this bullshit happened at work, that bullshit happened with the boyfriend, that bullshit happened with the girlfriend, whatever. That's why they drink. But then each of them has like their own passion. One of them is just a big fan of the supernatural and paranormal stuff. So she'll tell like some kind of a ghost story. And then the other one is really big into the true crime stuff. So she'll tell some kind of like really fucked up solved or unsolved murder. Like they went into the Black Dahlia and things like that. So it actually gets pretty interesting because I love both sides of it. I do love the true crime as long as it's got to be really weird. And I always love the supernatural stuff.
Oh, most definitely. Which is your top 3 unsolved murders of all time?
Oh, God.
Black Dahlia's got to be one of them.
Black Dahlia is one of them, and it's
Jack
like,
the Ripper?
Jack the Ripper is up there. And oh God, man, I don't know.
Zodiac Killer?
That one's good, and I don't know a bunch of the details, but I always found that there's actually one that they call the lipstick killer. That's just really like, oh damn, wow, because this dude he actually like he took a picture of it of like a mirror that he used lipstick on to write like, please catch me before I kill again. And just like, whoa, you know, it was twisted. There's a bunch of them that I've been learning about. Like there was this one where this guy was so abusive that he actually managed to talk his girlfriend into, trapping, raping, and killing teenage girls. And he started with her own sister.
Oh.
Like he broke her mentally and got her to help him do that. Like they would track down and they would pick up these teenage girls and they're thinking, well, since the girl's in the car with him, might as well get in. You know, they're not going to do anything with both of them in there. Yeah. So much for that. You know, wow. There's a bunch of really, really weird ones.
Yeah, it makes me wonder just how jacked up do you have to be the aggressor and have that much control over the submissive.
And it is, and it's not even to listen to it from every report that I've heard, you know, rape and stuff like this. None of it is usually about any kind of sexual jollies. It's not that they get their rocks off from it, although that might be part of it. It's more about the power that they have.
Yeah.
Like they want that complete power over somebody else. And that's just like, oh damn. How do you do that? So no. And I see it every day, or I see how some people could have it happen to them. Like, I don't know if you heard the last episode, but we had a young lady that we got onto our bus and got to her hotel room that,
yes.
Yeah. And that was just scary. Just like, oh my God. I did find out though, last week, I found out that, she talked to her mom and her mom got her on a plane that night and brought her home.
You know, that actually happened to me on the bus, about 7 years ago. I was on Boulder Highway heading southbound, and I'm at Eastern, and I always picked up this one girl almost 3 times a week, you know, and so we were into our long bid, and I had known her for a while, and my passengers knew me, you know, pretty good. Hey, how you doing, Jesse? Da da da. All of a sudden, one day I'm early, and this girl just comes. I'm like, hey, what's going on? She's like, close the doors. I go, what's going on? And as soon as I turn around, and she's standing behind me now, and her boyfriend's like, and he's like, bitch, get off the bus. And I'm like, oh, no. You're not going to be talking to her on the bus like this. You need to leave. Otherwise, I'm going to call the cops. I had these two big men in the bus. And they're like, Jesse, you all right? I go, yeah, I'm okay. Don't worry. They had heard everything. They walked through the back door, came up to the front, and they're like, you go ahead and take her where she needs to go. We're going to take care of this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm talking, these guys were at least 300 pounds each.
Oh, yeah.
And this boyfriend must have been a buck 50, tops. And 2 days later, the girl gets back on my bus and she's like, thank you, Jesse, for everything. After that day, my ex called me, says, I'm tired of this shit. I'm leaving. And he took off. He's all, I'm going back to California. And he left her.
But hold on.
Yeah.
I got a soundbite for that.
Bye-bye. Bye, Karen.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, that's just okay. Bye. We're not gonna miss you. And
yeah.
It's sad.
And then about 5 years later, I saw her on another route. She's like, Jesse, how you doing? And I go, hey. I go, so how you doing? Oh, I'm now engaged to this wonderful guy. He's nothing like my ex.
Good.
And she's all she's like, in a couple years, we're going to get married. So yeah, that she should have been married by now.
Good. And it's good to see when, especially as a bus driver, we do get to occasionally see somebody years later after a bad situation where their life has gotten better.
Oh yeah.
And to see that is something that always makes me smile. I mean, and I've only been doing it like 4 years, but it's still, even I've had the opportunity to see somebody years later where they're still doing good or they're doing better than they were. They moved, they got into a bigger place or, oh man. And almost every job I've had though, I've had that luck. Like I just recently, it happened, just this last week was the 7th anniversary for a couple that I played I was the DJ for their wedding.
Oh, I saw that.
And that, to see that they're still happily together 7 years later, they have a kid now. Obviously through in vitro, for the general public, it's a lesbian couple. Beautiful ceremony. The dancing was a blast. We had a great party. And let me tell you guys, American weddings, mainland American, because Hawaii is part of America. Mainland American weddings are fucking boring. They are
Now wait. Now, are you talking about what type of American? Because you got to remember, you got your Mexicans and your
generic mainland American weddings. The generic mainland, like the typical walk down the aisle reception, blah 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 blah. The Hawaiian weddings, they know how to party. Like, it is a ridiculous level of know how to party. Like the money dance. They even do the money dance different. Okay, so pretty much every wedding has the money dance where, you give the couple money to dance with the bride or the groom, whatever.
Yeah.
That's not the money dance. The money dance in Hawaii, they'll take that money and they'll like fold it up into a little envelope and they'll put it over his ear. So she's got to go in and nibble it out from over his ear. Then maybe they'll put it in her cleavage. Or they'll put it in his zipper. And we're talking like the parents do this shit to their kids. And this is every wedding. Like, that's just the standard wedding money dance in Hawaii. That's how they do it. And it's like, they're like, man, we're here to make sure that they have a great time. Their wedding is going to be an amazing, fun time that they're going to remember forever. Yay, I got to dance with my third cousin, second removed, that I haven't seen in 15 years and probably won't see again until a fucking funeral. And got $1 for it. No, fuck that. I nibbled it out of his crotch to get the money. You know, they have way more fun. Just even how they give away the centerpieces. Like we had ones where they would play hot potatoes with a fucking dollar to give away the centerpiece. I mean, they make it a big fun event.
Yeah.
But probably the funnest wedding game I ever saw was, and this is, I haven't seen it in any wedding since. Well, I did in one because I told the, I told the groom and bride about this from another wedding. They're like, shit, we'll do that. That sounds like fun. And it was. So what they did is they took all the names of the couples in the room and put them into a big hat. And whenever, you know how when they clink the glasses and the bride and groom are supposed to kiss?
Yeah.
Well, every time somebody started clinking the glasses, I would reach in and grab a name of a couple out of the hat, and they would have to kiss.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
But it didn't stop there. The rule was, however that couple kissed, the bride and groom had to kiss. So that means people were putting on a show.
Oh.
When you get grandma and grandpa doing the full-on dip and tongue,
oh, crap. Grandma and grandpa?
oh, dude, I had somebody run across the room and fly into somebody else's arms and do it that way. Just they were doing whatever they could. Like when it started off all innocent and chaste, and I was like, nah, y'all can do better than that. So the next couple like upped the ante a little bit, and the next couple upped it just a little bit more, and they just kept on going and getting way more and more and more outlandish. And it didn't matter who was doing it. Like if mom and dad could embarrass their kids, they were game.
I would love to see the videos on all that.
I didn't have videos for those. I mean, I didn't very often get a chance to actually record video at my events because, well, I was kind of busy. But, man, that was a fun event.
I mean, it's almost like, you know, like quinceañeras and Mexican weddings. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they have to be held across the border in Mexico because shit, they don't stop until 3-4 in the morning, and then there's the after party.
Oh yeah,
you know, after that.
Oh yeah, I had one. It was funny as hell because we did. It was a another thing Hawaiians do that mainland Americans, haoles, and all that they don't do. Baby's first birthday. That's a big deal. Of course, the party they throw for baby's first birthday is not about the baby at all.
It's about the parents.
It is about the parents. They are letting loose. They're like, we made it through a year, motherfuckers. So they have a blowout party. Yeah, the kids are there, but by halfway through the night, the kids are fucking asleep. And like we did one, it was on the West Coast on the Waianae Beach. And we were there because we got paid to do a 5-hour party. Well, we're nearing the end of that 5 hours, and they're like, "Oh, how much to stay for an extra hour, bah?" I'm like, $75. DJs get paid good, by the way. And they're like, "Oh, give me 1 minute." Like 20 minutes later, they'd taken up a collection and paid me to stay 2 extra hours. At 10 o'clock, they paid me to stay 2 extra hours on a public beach with people's houses right behind me. The cops rolled up. The cops didn't shut down the party. They said, "Oh, the music's fine, cuz, but can you turn down the lights? It's flashing in people's windows."
Wow.
That's how they party.
That's what the owners of the house were complaining about was the lights instead of the music.
The lights, yeah. I was good at my job, by the way. I was good at my job. But yeah, I miss that. I really do miss it. But the hustle to be a DJ, to actually line up gigs and things like that, that hustle I don't miss at all. I love doing the job, but constantly having to go out to try to get anybody interested in hiring you, and it's not easy, because when you're telling, and I was kind of low price for DJ. I was charging people $400 for a 5-hour party. That was low priced. For a good DJ, that is low priced. If you get a DJ out here that's charging you less than $400, don't hire them. You're not gonna get a DJ. You're gonna get some uncle with a hi-fi system and a laptop, and that's all he's doing. You're not going to get somebody that knows what they're doing and knows how to actually run a party and knows how to be an MC and knows how to get on the mic, ladies and gentlemen, and remember to tip that bartender. And just, you're not going to get somebody that knows how to do all that stuff. And that's why I after we moved out here, I was like, man, none of the DJs out here actually know what they're doing. I'd been here in a club and I'd be like, they hired you? How did you get hired playing like that? I don't get it. Like, I could spin circles around these guys, and I'm like, what? But, oh well.
Oh man.
But, yeah.
So, since December, actually since Christmas Eve, a whole lot of shit's been going on with me, especially at work. I've had, on the Decatur route, in a month, I had my upstairs windshield and my driver's side windshield broken by, who knows, people throwing rocks at the bus.
Oh, I've never had that.
It was some scary shit. The upstairs, I thought someone had hit the side of the bus. So I stopped and I looked and I didn't see any damage. But once I got to the south layover over by the job.
And you do your walkthrough.
Yeah. So I went through the bottom, went through the back stairway to do the walkthrough on the upstairs from the back to the front. And just as I got to the front, I see the windshield shattered. And that was the end of my night. Yeah. And it was two rocks, because you saw one rock where it completely indented into the windshield. Mm-hmm. And then you saw a second rock where it shattered and it left pieces of rock in the windshield.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was the first one. The second one was January 22nd. And I'm driving on Decatur right close to Cheyenne. And at the last split second, I see something coming up from the left, and it cracked the windshield on the right near me. So that was the end of my night right there again.
Yeah.
And there was one day I think it was 2-3 weeks ago. It was the week before my birthday. I had to call off because I started having a panic attack already at home.
Oh yeah, no, because it happens. So it happens. I mean, I've had days like that where you wake up and you just look at the outside world and you're like, no, no. And that's why we have PTO. That's why we have that stuff, because you know what? There are days when your brain just cannot get into that mode of, I'm going to go to work.
Yeah. And so in between those two incidences, I was on the 104 route, and I was already on the north end, and my bus breaks down. Coolant fell out. Yeah. This is where the tow truck driver scared the living crap out of me, because he shows up with a flatbed. He sees he turns it on. He's, I can drive this on. He drove the bus onto the flatbed truck. I kid you not. I thought I was going to see a tip over one way or another. He had maybe an eighth of an inch on each side with the tires.
That's insane.
Now to go yes, and then to go from the north end to the yard takes about a half hour, 45 minutes. This fool was going 80 miles per hour with the tow truck and the bus.
Oh.
He passed up 3 NHP without them pulling him over. And then when cars were going too slow at 65 miles per hour, within 20 feet of them, he decided to change lanes.
Dude, I would have gotten the number off the side of his damn tow truck and reported his ass.
And he had just started work because they have a countdown of they can only work 8 hours. His countdown was at 7:44 when I got into the bus. By the time we got to the yard, it took him 22 minutes to get to the yard.
Jesus.
I'm like, motherfucker. I couldn't believe what he had just done.
No, and
apparently it's not the first time this has happened with certain drivers.
Right. And I've gotten the way some people drive does scare the shit out of me. How many times that you're going to one of your layovers and you got to get on the freeway and you get on the freeway and then you're looking at the cars in front of you and they're like nut to butt on each other at 70 miles an hour. You're looking at that going, dude, if that car in front of you stops quickly, you're dead. This isn't just like a minor little, oh, I'm sorry I dented your fender. No, motherfucker, you're flying into their back seat.
Yeah.
With your engine. It's
no,
not.
What upsets me is when I'm deadheading back to the yard. And of course, our buses are the top speed we could go are 65.
We got
why the hell am
70?
Well, yeah, I mean, the double deckers and whatnot, they'll go fast, but all the newer buses, they can only go up to 65,
right? Maybe
70 if you're going downhill. But why at 65 am I passing up a sports car? I like a Dodge Challenger or a Camaro or a newer Mustang, and I'm going 65, and I'm passing them, and I keep looking in my mirror to see if they're catching up. No, they're falling behind.
Dude, okay, see and here's a thing with me on that. I see all day long. Now, I get it. The thrill of renting a supercar. Yes. I like it. I could not. Because if I am going to rent a supercar, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm not going to cruise the fucking strip in that bitch. If I'm going to cruise in a car, it's going to be like a Rolls Royce or something. I'm going to go luxury. That's a cruising car. A Cadillac, a Rolls Royce, something like that. A convertible, a classic Chevy or something like that, Bel Air.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to get a supercar, I want to stretch its fucking legs. If I'm driving a Lamborghini or a McLaren, I'm going to get a ticket. And it's not going to be a little pussy ticket. I'm going to be going 250 fucking miles an hour when they pull me over and they say, do you know how fast you were going, sir? Absolutely. I was pushing the pedal all the way to the floor and I loved it. Thank you for my ticket. I'm going to go turn in my license now because I now can't have one.
But yeah, it's like, why the hell are you going to own a freaking souped up car and drive like it's a little piece of crap?
Yeah, no. Those cars, no. That's why when and if I buy a car anytime in the near future, which it's going to eventually happen, I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to have to because, well, I'd like to be able to go places.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a flashy car. Because unless I have access to my own private fucking racetrack, I'm not getting a fast car.
Yeah.
Because I like to use what I have. There's a reason my computer is trying to die on me. It's because I use the fuck out of it. I do things with this little piece of shit laptop that should not be done with any computer, let alone this laptop. I'm sorry, baby. I know you're working hard for me, but but it's just ridiculous that I see people doing that. I'm like, you're driving a McLaren on the strip? What? You know, what's the point of that?
Or here's another one for you. You see the brand new cars that have, it looks like they've just been bought, souped up cars. Mm-hmm. And you could see that it still has that,
the paper tag.
That paper. Yeah. And they already need a tow. Like they did something wrong to that car and it just went. Ugh.
My favorite thing, and tell me you don't agree with this, is when I see a luxury car getting pulled over.
Oh, most definitely.
When I see somebody in a fucking Beamer or a Mercedes getting pulled over, I'm like, you dumb motherfucker. You don't own the road because the cops do, you bitch. You know?
Yep.
All the time.
And those who are poor will take care of their cars. But those who are, have money, you see them speeding all over the place. Next thing you know, boom, they're getting pulled over by the cops.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, though, is like you can have a poor fucker like me. I'm going to get a car. It'll be a beater, and it will run just as good as that BMW. It'll be beat up and ugly looking, and I will keep it running 5 years after that BMW is dead. Because I can't afford to buy another one. I have to spend a little dimes here and there to keep it from becoming a paperweight. That's the entitlement of the rich. I'll never get it.
Yeah, speaking of entitlement, I watch people do dumpster diving, and I've seen videos of people who are in rich communities throwing out beds or couches that are maybe 6 months to a year old because they're getting brand new ones.
Oh yeah.
It's like, do you really have that much money where you can just throw that shit out?
Another really good one is if you're anywhere near a college town with dorms. Because when they hit spring break, all that crap that they bought that their parents sent them money saying, oh, make sure you buy food, make sure you buy clothes, make sure you buy this. No, their asses were buying a $2,000 gaming computer. They were buying a $4,000 70-inch flat screen TV. They were buying shit that they don't need and they can't take with them. So when spring break hits and they're about ready to lose their damn dorm room, they got nothing to do but to throw it out and ask mommy and daddy for more money later. So you go right then and you dig in the dumpsters around the college then. Oh yeah, you'll get some good shit.
But I did read up on for Nevada dumpster diving. The first fine is $250. By the time you get to your third fine, it's $1,000 plus 6 months in jail.
What? Why? What?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the stupidest things in the world. As long as you're not leaving a mess, I don't think there should be a criminal offense for dumpster diving. Because if you're not leaving a mess, you're reusing stuff. So you're not filling up the landfills. You're not creating more waste. You're actually decreasing the waste and using things until they can't be used anymore.
Or, have you seen dumpster diving videos?
I've never looked, no.
Oh, my dear Lord. Some of these stores are throwing away upwards of $10,000 worth of merchandise a day.
Jesus.
At the very least.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you see somebody threw away an unopened package of diapers. I mean, it had 180 diapers inside, and it was just thrown away. I've seen 3 to 5 cases of Sunny D bottles being thrown away. You know,
Oh,
a lot of
Jesus.
stuff a lot of non-perishable foods in cans being thrown away. And I've seen people, I mean, I've seen your living room, and their entire living room is filled with stuff they've gotten from dumpster diving. Frozen food, where
Mm-hmm.
the meat is literally frozen solid. It was just thrown away. They're
Mm-hmm.
throwing away upwards of $900 to $1,500 of frozen food away.
Yeah. And then really all you need to do is just put it back in the pocket freezer and eat it. It's just that it's beyond the time when they think they could sell it.
Yeah.
Dude, I've had chicken sitting in the freezer for 6 months and then eat it. It what?
Yeah, like my mom and my dad, they have, their fridge in the kitchen, but then they have a deep freezer in the garage. And it's about almost 3/4 the size of their fridge. And my mom will never let that deep freezer go below 3/4.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's always grabbing from the bottom and restocking it and whatnot. But yeah, but I look at all these videos and it's like all this food could be sent, especially the non-perishables can be sent to these food pantries or, homeless shelters or whatever. Why are you throwing all this food away?
Only in America.
Yeah.
In Germany and France and through most of Europe, doing that is illegal. It is illegal to throw out still edible food. It has to be donated.
My daughter has a heart of gold. My youngest daughter. One day we went to Denny's right there on Tropicana and Flamingo, or Tropicana and
I was going to say
Eastern.
Tropicana and Flamingo. They're parallel to each other. They don't cross.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
no, Tropicana and Eastern, and this family behind us. It was a family of 10, 12 people. This is before the pandemic.
Right.
And almost everybody had left half their food. And I told my daughter, look behind me, look at all the food they left. And she started crying. She's like, Dad, is there any way we could take that food and feed the homeless? And so we asked the manager. They're like, only if the people who were eating here said yes, if they packaged it themselves and gave it to us, it would have been fine. But the management cannot give it to us because then we'd be charged for it. And also, they're like, yeah, we wish we could give the food away, but then if we give the food away, more homeless are going to start showing up. Yeah. So, and a few years ago, I was buying lunch meat and making sandwiches, a bottle of water, and a little Snickers or mini candy, and I made little bags here and there, and I started giving them away, but I just didn't have enough supplies.
We do what we can when we can, and that's why, when anybody ever says, well, you can give your hard-earned money away to the homeless, why don't you? And it's like, I do.
And that's another thing is that some of these homeless are actually richer than you and I are, combined.
Yeah. I've seen that too. But
they're making anywhere between $40,000 and $65,000 a year, tax free, and they're living at a basic level sometimes, and they're just pocketing all that money. One of the drivers actually told me when he was finishing up the route, he was taking the bus back to the yard from Tropicana on the west side. And as he was trying to get onto the freeway, he saw the lady who was, begging for money all day long, walk across the street and get into her BMW.
Yeah. And then they go home, they take a nice hot shower in a nice warm house, and then the next morning they get up, they rat up their hair, they dirty themselves up, and they go out and they do what they do.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
yeah. They won't wash their beggar clothes.
Yeah. They'll make sure they stay dirty and stanky. Which, no, I can't walk out the door like that. But, oh, shit, look at the time. Anyway, folks, I think we're actually going to have to bring this to a little bit of an end. That being said...
Damn it.
Oh, no.
It's already been an hour?
It's already been an hour. So we're gonna come back and we're going to do more. We're going to do another hour in 2 weeks tonight. So... Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for listening to The Squirrel Tangent. If you want to check us out, you can always go to our Facebook page. I'm actually now on TikTok, and we're on Instagram and Twitter and all of that stuff. Of course, you can download and listen to us on all of your favorite streaming services. And if you really like what you heard, please check out patreon.com/The Squirrel Tangent. If you give us $5 a month, we'll drop your name on an episode. And we, of course, appreciate it. It helps us keep on going. Aloha.
Adios.
Bye-bye. Bye, Karen.